Let's talk about QuantumScape. They're at this really critical moment, shifting from a company with cool ideas in a lab to a potential manufacturing giant. Today, we're going to dive right into their Q1 2026 shareholder letter to see if they're actually making that happen. We'll unpack their production progress, check the health of their finances, and even look at some surprising new markets they're jumping into. All right, let's get to it. But first, the usual and very important heads up, this is all for educational purposes. It is not financial advice. You've always got to do your own research. So here's our game plan. We'll start with a big picture from their Q1 summary. Then we're going to get into the weeds with their Eagle production line. This is really where the rubber meets the road. After that, we'll follow the money and look at their key financials, explore some potentially game-changing new markets, and then wrap it all up with what it means for the road ahead. Okay, let's jump right in. What was the big story for QuantumScape this past quarter? The headline for Q1 is pretty simple. They're getting it done. The biggest question that has always swirled around QuantumScape is, can they actually build these things at scale? Well, this quarter, they took some major steps to answer that with a pretty convincing yes. But it's not just about what's happening in the factory. They're also starting to aim their technology at new, really high-value targets outside of the car industry, and they're doing it all with a very healthy bank account. So how are they getting it done? Well, it all revolves around something they call the Eagle line. And this isn't just some factory floor, it's the proving ground where the lab science has to meet the harsh reality of mass production. For anyone who's new to the story, the Eagle line is not just another research lab. It's a highly automated pilot production line. Its whole purpose, its entire reason for being, is to prove that QuantumScape's solid-state battery tech can be manufactured reliably and at a huge scale. This is the bridge from R&D to commercial reality. And just take a look at this. This isn't a concept drawing or a render. This is the actual automated machinery inside the Eagle line right now putting together their first cells. Seeing these robots and systems in motion, that's a huge proof point. It shows their plan is turning into physical working reality. Now what's really cool here is you can see the logical progression. Step 1, they got all the equipment installed in Q1. Huge milestone, check. Step 2, they're not just mindlessly assembling cells, they're integrating advanced AI to improve quality on the fly. This creates a feedback loop, what they call a virtuous cycle of data and learning. And step 3 shows us what's next. In Q2, they're going to ramp up production specifically for their customers. And all this factory progress is translating directly into customer confidence. They're going deeper with Volkswagen, they've shipped cells to another major partner. But honestly, the real story here is the successful evaluation by a different top 10 global automaker. This company basically put QuantumScape's tech into a head-to-head bake-off with other solid-state batteries, and QuantumScape's won. That's a massive independent stamp of approval. Of course, all this progress costs money. A lot of it. So let's pivot and look at the financial metrics to see just how much runway they have. The first number you need to know is their cash position, over $900 million. For a company that isn't selling a mass market product yet, this is, well, it's everything. It's their war chest. This much cash gives them a long, long runway to perfect their manufacturing and build their business without constantly worrying about raising more money. Now, obviously, they're still spending more than they're making. Their adjusted EBITDA loss was about $63 million, but here's the key part. That number was exactly what they told everyone it would be. For investors, this isn't just about the loss, it's about control. It shows that management is steering the ship with a very steady hand on the budget. Here's another interesting number, $11 million in customer billings. Now, this isn't revenue from selling batteries. This is money from partners who are paying QuantumScape for development work. Why does that matter? It shows these huge companies are putting their money where their mouth is, helping to fund the very tech they plan to buy down the road. And just to underscore that financial stability, the company reaffirmed its full-year guidance. They're holding steady on their expected spending. In a pretty uncertain market, that kind of predictability is exactly what stakeholders want to see. So with the manufacturing getting de-risked and the financials looking solid, QuantumScape is starting to look beyond just cars. Let's explore these new opportunities they're targeting in AI and defense. Okay, this is where the story takes a fascinating turn. With a clear manufacturing path, QuantumScape is now looking at the AI gold rush. AI data centers are incredibly power-hungry, and guess what? They're hitting the same battery limitations that electric vehicles did. QuantumScape thinks their tech can solve this, letting data centers pack way more computing power into the same space and do it more safely. It's like a power-up for the AI revolution itself. The defense industry is another huge target.
I mean, more powerful and safer batteries for soldiers and drones is an obvious win. But the real game changer here is what's not in their batteries: graphite. The supply chain for battery-grade graphite is heavily dominated by China. QuantumScape's design completely sidesteps that dependency. For the defense world, that isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a strategic necessity.
And this isn't just some theory they're floating. They went out and brought Dr. Ross Nybergall, a top executive from defense giants like L3Harris and Raytheon, onto their board. His comment about the tech being a transformative force is a huge vote of confidence from a true industry insider.
And just to double down, they also added Dr. Mark Mabry to their advisory board. This is the former chief scientist of the U.S. Air Force, currently at Lockheed Martin. You don't make hires like these unless you have a very serious, well-supported plan to break into the defense market. All right, let's tie all this together. What's the big picture takeaway from this quarter, and what does the path forward really look like for them? So what's the grand strategy here? It's something they call a capital light model, and frankly, it's pretty smart. Instead of trying to spend billions building all their own giant factories from scratch, they're partnering with manufacturing experts who will build them for them. This lets QuantumScape focus on what they do best, the core science, while their partners handle the massive scale-up. It's just a faster, smarter, and way less risky way to go global. And this quote here from their partner, Corning, really captures the whole opportunity. It's not just about the exponential demand, but the wide range of applications, from cars to medical devices to military gear. It just shows how much confidence and alignment they have from key players in their ecosystem. So all of this brings us to the big question. They're making real, tangible progress in the factory, their finances are solid, and they've got these incredible new markets in their sights. The question now becomes, what's the next domino to fall? Is it going to be a huge licensing deal, a massive order from a new automaker, or maybe a surprise contract from the defense world? All the pieces are on the board, and the next move could be a really big one. And that's our breakdown of QuantumScape's really pivotal first quarter. We're definitely going to be watching closely to see what that next catalyst is. If you want to stay on top of this story and get more deep dives like this one, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.